I think one of the scariest things about being clergy is often you end up feeling alone and isolated, and a lot of times it's easy to feel like you're a bit out of your depth because so many of the things that go into the day-to-day life of a parish are not things you learn in seminary.
This is my second year at CLTI. The first year was focused on the spiritual disciplines, which was transformative for me, in the day-to-day work of parish ministry. You can get a little bit away from that. And this year was focused more on leadership, and I'm once again refreshed, and I'm going to go home with some real practical tools that I'm excited about implementing in the parish that I think will really benefit the congregation.
I knew that I would receive some teaching and information that I'd never heard or learned before, and that certainly was the case. It was incredible. Things that we never even thought to ask about or learn in seminary, let alone in the busyness of ministry. So it was not only theoretical, but it was extremely practical to be able to go back and implement in ministry, working with people, caring for people.
Just so much of the spiritual component I thought was it's on target for where I am. It's just really nice to have someone from the outside kind of come in and remind you of the things as clergy that you need to be doing to take care of yourself that get so easily forgotten. I think last year I was new to my job and I totally understood a lot of the more kind of business administrative dynamic type things that are a part of CLTI. I got it on one level, but now I think I feel way more in the thick of it and can look kind of afresh. The whole time when we were talking just about leadership and other things, I could think about specific things going on currently in my congregation that were directly applicable. I mean, the stuff that we're talking about here in a completely different way that I don't think I was immersed enough in my time last year to really, besides just saying, oh, it's a great idea, but now I can see how, here's somewhere where I need to be leading differently, or this is something that I need to take and use this kind of strategy. This is the kind of, the problem, the leadership tactic to address for the problem. So that was incredibly helpful to hear.
Real excited about just kind of re-envisioning the mission of the church and looking learn some things about practical leadership styles, how to bring the congregation from where we are today to where we need to be in a gentle enough way that the leadership doesn't balk and can go along.
We're challenged into thinking about and putting into practice some methods, processes, systems, ways of thinking, ways of approaching not just conflict, but dealing with your people, with your congregation, in ways in which I've never really thought about before or would really think about. I mean, you could certainly get into a lot of these leadership books and studies on your own, but who has time to do that and to really take the time to get into it and to think about it? So this was a very focused, deliberate, intentional time, not only to learn, but to think about, and to not only think about the material, but to think about how I'm going to take it and apply this back home.
Everything has been fantastic. I mean, every piece of what's gone into CLTI I think has been really well thought out and is really important, and especially I think for someone like me just starting my career in ministry. But most important above all of that, I think, is the collegiality piece. And even working at a church with a big staff and being around people, a chance to have clergy friends who are outside of that specific environment, a chance to just hear that everyone, we all go through very similar things, so there are different, particulars to our own situation, and that there's just so much encouragement that comes out of those relationships. And even working at a big church, there are times when you can feel alone in your job. You can kind of feel like you get lost in the shuffle of a busy church life, and it's really nice to be able to come and make friends who are outside of that environment, and people who really do encourage you and who share wisdom with you from their own experience. And I think that's actually probably the single most beneficial part of my experience with CLTI so far.
So it doesn't matter how old you are or young you are. We had a wide age range. So it was pertinent for the youngster, so to speak, just starting out, as well as for those of us who've had some years of experience in ministry. Perfectly applicable.